Hey everybody, Ryan here for Work to Game, and today of all days, obviously, is the Final Fantasy XIV Keynote in Tokyo for FanFest 2016, and Yoshi P just got off the stage, just got finished watching it, and super hyped. So there's a lot they covered. Some of it we already knew because there were some parts of the video they had to go back and highlight exactly what was talked about during the Vegas Fan Fest. But for the most part, we got obviously a lot of really good information. Highlights, obviously, Red Mage confirmed, fantastic, exciting, and I'm going to talk to you guys more about that here in a little bit. So then they talked about the release date, which was June 20th, 2017, and then they put a little tentative. But pre-orders go on sale on the 24th of January, so not too much further along until we can pre-order the game. So they talked about the physical collector's edition and the digital collector's edition. So we're going to be getting obviously new mount, new minion, and it looks like there's going to be a Red Mage exclusive glamour type weapon, the chicken cutter for the Red Mage. So I'm going to go down, go through my notes, and just kind of give you guys the highlights of that. I'm going to put up some screenshots behind me of what we took from the keynote, and just give my general thoughts and opinions about that right now. So we'll be doing obviously, I guess, a greater level of analysis into any of the information that comes out here in the coming weeks. So all in all, it's really good to get some pure confirmation to what we already kind of knew, Red Mage. But what type of role is it? What is its main priorities, and how does it look? And to put it simply, it looks amazing. One of the first things I'm going to have to do is get one of my friends who's a huge Red Mage fan. He told me to call him once Red Mage comes in, so we should see him joining in with Stormblood. So Yoshi took the stage. He welcomes everybody. And the first thing that everyone wants to talk about is, the new job. So he talks about Red Mage, shows off a video of them fighting a new monster that, at least from my memory, I haven't seen in the game yet. And so that looked really cool. And he casts some spells from afar, and then he jumps in, does some quick sword attacks, and then moves out. And so he talks about some job characteristics. The role is going to be a ranged magic DPS. The weapon, a rapier, and with a magic crystal medium. So they got the sword, and he's got this little medium that he kind of hovers over there, and then he combines the two to do some of their attacks. No base class, which we assumed and expected, and they're tentatively setting it to start at level 50. So just like the jobs for Heavensward, they started at level 30. This would start at level 50, and presumably so would the others. What's interesting to note about this specifically is that they said that the jobs for Stormblood would be accessible in the ARR area. So it doesn't seem like the jobs are going to be story locked to the game, which I think is a good thing. I don't mind the content being story locked, but locking out the jobs, having to clear a Realm Reborn just to play a Dark Knight or an Astrologian seemed like a little extra work that was unnecessary. This seems to be a good step in the right direction. And so they said red magic is white and black magic together, which seems reasonable from a Final Fantasy series perspective. Don't know if that means they can equip black mage spells and white mage spells, or if they're going to have its own take on those, or just and this is all speculation, that is it where you have your stances of white and black? I don't know. So very interested to see more and learn more about it. So and then the melee attacks are going to obviously use the sword. So they're calling this a hybrid ranged melee, and it's really focusing on high speed positioning. And they mentioned that the chain spell is going to be really huge with Red Mage. And so with the video, like I said, it shows him casting from afar, jumping in, and they use this chain to pull out the melee sword skills. And then back out, and he has a really cool emote that he did while fighting, which is fantastic. So I'm sure they're going to release some video of that on the official site, and once they do, we'll try to kind of comment on that as well. But I want to make sure I respect the how they've got it set up for displaying this information right now. Okay, so then he went into, at this point, after they kind of did that, they went and did the recap of the information that we already kind of knew and learned from the Tokyo Fan Fest. So, I'm sorry, the Las Vegas Fan Fest. So, but when he came back, he was wearing a Spider-Man shirt. So they're keeping with the Marvel theme, and everybody was like, and my Twitter was going off like crazy. What could it mean? What could it mean? I think Mr. Happy had the right idea, perhaps, where he said, well, Sam Raimi was one of the directors of several of the Spider-Man movies, and then if you put Sam and Raimi together, does it mean samurai? I don't know. So it seems to be a very good hint, something to really drive everybody crazy, and also again sticking with the Marvel theme, which is exciting, etc. So then after after a little bit of laughter there, we jumped into the new features where they showed off swimming and diving with a nice little picture, and I'll sure include it with a little Ultros there in the corner. And so not all bodies of water can be, are swimmable. They said like riverbeds that are, shallow, you can't swim in. But entering the water, you're going to go right in swim mode. He mentioned there's no loading. That's going to be a part of it. Only flying mounts can actually swim. And then swimming is going to be allowed actually in limited realm reborn areas. So like Casa de Sol, for example, he's like, well, people are already hanging out there by the beach. We need to let them swim. So it's good to see them thinking through that and bringing that there. So then movement's going to be slightly obscured. So you're going to be a little bit slower than walking and running when swimming. And then you're not going to actually have any battle encounters while swimming. This is something they debated extensively, and they decided it was a little bit too little stressful. You can, however, die in the water, like if you enter into the water with a dot on and it kills you. And they actually have an animation prepared for that. He didn't show it off, but it was like, okay, yeah, if that happens, we want to do that. But it was interesting, that there were no battles while swimming. And then diving, which is goes hand in hand, is where you go under the water. Going to be allowed in select areas. No loading time to when you dive under. It's not like you're zoning into another completely different zone. No need to worry about breathing. So he said that it's a world of magic, and when you learn to dive, you will be able to breathe forever with the use of magic. They talked about this as well, but they wanted to make it kind of stress-free exploration, and so. Then all flying mounts can also dive in underwater, and they showed that off as well, and they can move pretty quickly. Obviously, and just like with swimming, no battles while you're submerged underwater, but you can interact with NPCs, which he said is a little bit of a spoiler, and we'll get to that here in a second. Is that there's going to be an underwater beast tribe or underwater peoples that you can interact with. There's also a big push for gathering. Fishing is they said there's going to be a big thing regarding diving with fishing and gathering, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes from there. And then they said that diving is actually going to be unlocked via special quest. So it seems like just like we kind of learned how to fly, we're going to be taught how to swim, and that ties into breathing underwater. So that's going to be fascinating to see. And then they showed off a video of swimming and diving, and it looks beautiful. I mean, the water effects on the swimming, you're just kind of swimming, and then you can even sprint, which will give you that faster swim, and it really kind of was fun. It seemed a lot of fun, and maybe we'll even see this tie into the summer event, this coming summer after the release, because of the fact that we can swim. So who knows? Then they go into the new beast tribe. I'm going to probably mispronounce it. The Anata. So they inhabit the mountains around Almigo, made up solely of females, been oppressed by the Empire, and they say if you go into the Binding Coil and see all these things, like you've kind of seen that history. They've existed since the time of the Algins. I'm totally don't know why I'm having a hard time saying that. And they worship the primal Lakshmi, the Lady of Bliss. So it seemed to have kind of look a little bit tie into the goddess. They kind of tease this. Anyway, so we're going to learn more about the story, Lakshmi, of the Anata, and as we progress through the story of Stormblood. So Nobu Umatsu is actually going to be composing the main theme for Stormblood, and he came on in a little video, said that he's about 60% done, and that he's actually going to be at the European FanFest for a meet and greet as well. So he's looking forward to seeing everybody there. And then they talked about the high-end raids. So for the high-end raids, we got the name of both for kind of the 8-man and the 24-man alliance. So the 8-man, the Bend of Time Omega, they said this was teased at 2.3, was teased at the end of 3.4, and we're actually going to see Omega in the story of 3.5, and it's going to all tie together with 4.0, which is, I think, is something we've all wanted. We really liked how 1.0 and 2.0 and the Binding Coil kind of tied that together, and that's where I think some of the complaints with Alexander were just a little bit... it's like, well, this is fine, but it's just out there. Like, why is it mean something? Why is it, where does it give that its teeth and its value? And so I think we're going to see that with the fact that Omega showing up in 3.5 as well, and then tying that together with 4.0. But he said that it wasn't going to be a part of the main story to clear and to continue, but it's going to be tied together. So it seems similar to what they probably did with Binding Coil, and that maybe at some point later there's going to be some story elements of that, you know, hey, did he clear it? Yes. Okay, here's some additional text or something that's going to be a part of it. And then they talked about the 24-man alliance raid. We got a name, Return to Ivalice, which is awesome and exciting. And it's Final Fantasy XII is one of my, I guess, favorite Final Fantasies. Just the world Ivalice, especially with the Tactics series. So they said that they're bringing in special guest creators to really do something different with the alliance raid. And so one of those creators, and I'm sorry about any mispronunciation of names. Yusami Matsuno, the game designer, he's going to do the plot and the scripting, and I believe they were saying that he's already written the plot for the Return to Ivalice Alliance raid, and so he's Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy XII. So he's really and he spent a lot of time with that. So I'm really excited. That really ties into this Return to Ivalice. What should hopefully be a very Final Fantasy-esque feel. And then Kiata Minyav, he's an illustrator and character designer, so he's focusing solely on the boss design. And so these two guys are real talented, have a huge resume, and it's going to be exciting. So they're bringing these special creators for this, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in 4.0 as opposed to how it's played out in the past. So they, like I said, they talked about the collector's edition. So you're gonna get a kind of figure for Xenos. You're gonna have a special like box design, and then you're also gonna get all the digital content. But then so at the end of it, we already announced at the beginning of this video the release date. The CEO of Square Enix comes out, forces Yoshi P to give a release date, and then it's tentative. So all in all, I think this was a hugely exciting keynote. I really am happy to see Red Mage confirmed. I'm really happy to see them show it off pretty much as expected. No real big twists. I'm really excited that we saw that they showed off the raids, and then we got the names of those, and especially really excited about Omega and really excited about the Return to Ivalice. So, I guess very hyped for the FanFest in Europe, in Frankfurt, in February. We're going to obviously have 3.5 out by then. They're going to be revealing much more about the game at that point in time. But let me know if you guys have any questions. Leave them in the comments below so we can continue this conversation. And I'm going to get back to watching some of the events at FanFest. I hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, y'all have a great day. Take care.